Hello and welcome to the Recovery Expert Dropped Object Recovery video. In this video, I will be demonstrating how to recover a dropped object. If you ever accidentally dropped an object, maybe you thought you were working in your development environment, but really were connected to your production environment, and you dropped an object, how can you get that object back? Well, Recovery Expert can help you recreate that dropped object along with all its dependent objects, and it can also help you get your data back. So in this demonstration, I'll be using the Recovery Expert interface to perform a dropped object recovery to get your object back as well as your data. So you can see here we're at the Recovery Expert main menu. So for this demo for dropped object recovery, we're going to be using option 3, ad hoc operations. So I'm going to type in 3, hit enter. Now I'm going to select the subsystem I'll be working with. So the subsystem I dropped the object in is subsystem PCA1. So I'm going to select that subsystem and hit enter. Now I'm going to go into option 2 for log-based recovery. So here you see log scanned ranges. In order to do a dropped object recovery, the first thing we need to do is to scan the log to find the objects that were dropped. And how we do that is we create a scanned log range with a given time frame that we know we've dropped the object in, and what we'll do is we'll find all dropped objects in that time frame, and then we'll bring back those objects and let you select those objects you want to recover. So to begin, we're going to do a C to create a new scanned log range. In this example, I know what time I dropped it, so I'm going to do a T for timestamp. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to change my time frame to 15:22:00 and my end time to 15:23:00. So I know I dropped my object between 15:22 and 15:23, so I'm going to go out and scan the log in that time frame looking for all dropped objects. So I'm going to submit the scan log range job. And now I'm going to wait for it to complete. Once it completes, I'm going to go back to the log scan range page, and I can see my new log range that has been created. Scan is completed. I'll press PF3, and you can see here it created a new scan log range with the time frame between 15:22 and 15:23 for today. So let's select that scan range and select all objects. Now it's going to display to me all objects that it found that were dropped along with its dependent. So in order to get that table space back that I dropped, so in this case I dropped a table space DRP TS1. I'm going to select that table space and hit enter. So now I have select my object to be recovered, and now I'm going to hit PF3. The next step is to select your recovery point. So I'm going to go down to select recovery point and enter a Y, and then I'm going to go down to recovery history events and select that. And what recovery history events does, it shows you all the events that are listed in syscopy. Now I'm going to select the last full image copy that I created, and you can tell by here F being full image copy. Hit enter. So now I have selected my recovery point. I'm going to hit enter. So now what it's doing, it's going out and it's building the dropped object recovery job or plans. And so in this case it came back with 2 plans using Advanced Recover and using DSM1 copy. I'm going to build the using DS1 copy plan. And then it comes back and it asks you for a data set to put the recovery JCL in. So I'm going to put it in the pdbob.cntl data set. And if you want to use a prefix, you give it a prefix for the member it's going to create. And now as you can see, it's created the dropped object recovery job. So now let's take a look at the dropped object recovery job that was built. The first step here is the DDL step. So you can see here what it's going to do. It's going to create the objects that were dropped along with the dependents. So in this example, I dropped the table space, so it's going to start with the create table space. Then it's going to create the table that was also dropped, and then it's going to create the index that was dropped, and you can see down here it's going to create the view that was dropped. The next several steps are going to be the creation of the DSN1 copy cards along with the DSN1 copy job. So you can see here the DSN1 copy job, and then the final step is to rebuild the index. So if we go back to the top and submit that job, we're going to wait for that job to complete. And then we're going to select that job. So you can see here the job completed successfully. So it recreated the table space, the table, the index, as well as the view, and then it recovered the data. So now if we run a query against that table that we recreated, so the drop TB1 table was the table that was dropped as a result of the drop table space. So if we run a query on that table, we can see exactly the data that was brought back. So as you can see here, we brought back 36 rows. So the original table had 36 rows. So as you can see here, we successfully recreated the table space along with all dependent objects. We brought back the data, and that data consisted of 36 rows. Thank you for watching this video on IBM DB2 Recovery Expert Dropped Object Recovery.